guys? I am Paluki, your coach of the Viofrey Venusaurs here in Season 3 of PCL, the Pokemon Champions League. But today I'm wearing the hat of the PCL moderator, and I'm going to be explaining to you guys in this video exactly how the drop from Majors Origins League to Minors Generations League occurs in the PCL in the event of a win-loss tiebreaker. That is very exciting. It's the first season that we've implemented the Majors Minors system, and it's the first time, of course, that we're going to have a tiebreaker, and I'm going to have to explain it. So what I'm hoping is that you guys watch this video, listen to what I say, and there's no blowback as to how this is calculated. This is by far, hear me out, the most equitable system for having done this. Now, there's a lot of numbers on the screen. Please don't read into those yet, though you may already see what the result of this is. I'm going to explain how this has gone, and some of it is in response to something that Lo-Fi, one of our PCL draft coaches in Origins League, brought up very recently about the fact that our system makes it so that you don't play everyone in Origins. You play 3 of the 4 divisions. So how do we account for that? Mathematically, of course. So I'm going to be explaining that. So I will note that Slife and Gliscor has not yet occurred, but I will note further that that battle actually does not matter. Does not matter for the calculation of who drops from Origins to Generations. It may matter for other purposes. I haven't looked into it, but it doesn't matter for this. We actually already have our bottom 4 coaches who are going to be dropping down to Generations determined. They are already set in stone. We already know how Season 4, maybe not yet Season 5 yet, but Season 4 is going to go for who drops Generations. So we're going to start on the left side here, looking at if Slife wins this battle. We've got Yeesh, Lovecraft, Dilly, yours truly, Lo-Fi, and Gliscor then would all be 5 and 6. Because Slife and Gliscor are 5 and 5, one of them will be 5 and 6, the other won't even be a part of this conversation, and we can move on and I'll be happy. I should note at the outset of this, the left and right sides are going to look really, really similar, and that's because everyone who lost to Slife lost to Gliscor, and everyone who beat Slife beat Gliscor. So we're actually very, very happy about the fact that this calculation can be done immediately, and we don't have to draw this out any further after that last battle with Lovecraft and Cradley. So what we have here from the top down, let's look at the Slife side first. Yeesh with Snow beat me, sadly, and lost to Gliscor and Lo-Fi. That means he beat 1 team out of the 6. Lovecraft beat 2 out of the 6. Cradley beat none. All of her wins were against the highest teams or the lowest teams in the league. I beat 2 of them, Lo-Fi beat 2 of them, and Gliscor beat 3 of them. On this side, on the Gliscor side, if Gliscor wins, we have the same result. Yeesh beat 1, Lovecraft beat 2, Dilly beat none, I beat 2, Lo-Fi beat 2, and Slife beat 3, just as Gliscor beat 3. So, what we have here is raw numbers. Don't look at the fractions that I built yet. Raw numbers. If we were to call it that it's just straight up head-to-head, who won the most, who won the least out of the 6, and it's a clean tiebreaker, then we would have Yeesh and Cradley having the lowest records with 1 and 0 out of 6 dropping, right? But that's not the case. The most equitable format for this, and thank you again, Lo-Fi, for bringing this to my attention, the most equitable way to solve this mathematically is to actually build a fraction comparison off of how many teams you did face, so that you're not penalized for not having faced a few teams, right? So, Yeesh beat 1, but he only played 3, so his win-loss record within this is actually 1 and 3. Lovecraft beat 2 out of 3, and his record isn't 1-1, lost 3. His record is 1 and 2, but he won 1 out of 3. I know it looks, because we put win-loss records as fractions all the time, but what I'm saying is how many did he beat? 1/3. Lovecraft beat 2/3. Dilly beat 0/3, and I know you can't divide a 0, but for the sake of percentage comparisons, let's call it a negligible 0.0001 out of 3, effectively 0. I beat 2/3, Lo-Fi beat 2/4 or 1/2, and Gliscor beat 3/4 of the teams. And it's the same result for Slife. So as you can see, this accounts for the fact that some teams didn't play each other. But even on a percentage comparison for the teams that you did play, comparing tiebreakers and head-to-heads within this group of 6 teams, Yeesh and Cradley are still the bottom 2 records. So that means we have 4 teams guaranteed, regardless of the last battle, to drop down to Generations. Those are JM and Brian, who are already locked from last week or prior, Yeesh, and Cradley. Those will be the 4 teams guaranteed that drop down to Generations based on this calculation that you see here in front of you. If you have any questions, please ask me or the mod team. If the mod team doesn't have answers, you can refer them to me. I've got a little bit of time on my hands that I can help to answer some questions over the week. So please, if you do have any questions, go ahead and let me know. I am giving this video out now to explain how the calculations work, and it should all make sense. But as we've already seen, I did not have a good mathematic answer for Lo-Fi when he asked how we account for those teams that we didn't play. So if there is something that can be brought to my attention and this calculation isn't perfect, let me know, because we will adjust it either this season or more likely next season. I think this has to be the calculation for this season, especially because it doesn't change anything based on what I told Lo-Fi last week or the week prior when he asked about it. But if you do have a concern, please let us know, and the mod team and I will all confer about this, and we'll get it figured out for the future. So I hope that this all makes sense, and I will catch you guys next time.